show. I'm your host, Coach Godwin, all-time leading scorer at the University of North Florida. Also author of a great new book, Everyone Hates a Ball Hog, but They All Love a Scorer. In today's show, we have a special guest that I know a lot of you ladies and gentlemen are going to enjoy. He's a guy that has passion for the game. He has his own online blog, and he's also a junior college coach, and he has great coaching experience. He's a coach from Michigan State, Coach Steve Finamore. Coach Steve, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kay. It's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to the interview.
Tell the audience a little bit about your basketball background and your passion for the game.
Okay, well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I started coaching when I was 16 years old, and I just coached a whole bunch of 6th and 7th graders. They were looking for an adult to coach the team, and there was really no one around at the time, so I just started coaching the guys, and it became a passion of mine because some of the guys that I played for, you know, I was kind of motivated and inspired by those guys to just pick the game up and then pick the profession up. And then I coached some high school basketball in my early 20s. And probably, I want to say in my early 30s, I made the move out to East Lansing, Michigan, where I spent 2 years at Michigan State as a student assistant. And you know, I coached some high school ball out here for a year. Then I went back to New Jersey, where I coached at St. Peter's College in Jersey City for one season in 2005. And now currently I'm the men's head basketball coach at Jackson Community College in Jackson, Michigan.
Yes, and that's, like I said before, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity to get with a coach and just to hear your perspective on the game of basketball. Where can the fans and the audience members find you as far as online?
Well, they can go, you know, if you just Google my name, Steve Finamore, a lot of my material would come up. But if they wanted to go to my blog, it would be hoopscoach.wordpress.com. That'd be hoopscoach.wordpress.com. But like I said, KJ, if you just Google Steve Finamore, my blog would come up number one.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's get into it. I think that the game of basketball, especially over here, we're having a hard time dealing with the athleticism and the type of athlete that's actually coming out today. I mean, there were no LeBron James in the 60s. And you guys like Dwight Howard. I mean, these guys are defying all logic. How do you think we as coaches should actually teach and coach these players that just can do things that normal kids can't do, and are really taking our game to the next level?
Well, Kay, I really think it starts at a young age. You got to get them when they're in middle school, you know, 8th and 9th grade, and you got to sit them down and you got to explain to them the importance of, you know, sharing the ball, playing defense, and sprinting the floor, and playing with a lot of energy. And it's such a blessing to see guys like a LeBron James, like a Kobe Bryant, you know, those guys who you know, they combine athleticism and fundamentals. You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, LeBron this, LeBron that, but I'm telling you right now, if you dissect his game and really break down the tape and watch him, he's got incredible footwork when he catches the ball out on the perimeter. And the one thing that's hurting his game now is his inability to take somebody in the low post, because I think once he learns that, he's going to be unstoppable if he's not unstoppable already. But our guys with the athleticism, I think it'd be such a big help if they, you know, share the ball, if they work on their jab step, you know, if they work on cutting without the ball. There's a lot of little things, but like KG, the bottom line is we got to get these kids at a young age and instill in them the importance of teamwork.
Definitely, and I like what you just said. You just said cutting without the ball. One of the things I notice even with LeBron James is, you know, he's coming along, but he has a hard time playing without the basketball. And I think it's because he's so awesome with the ball.
No question about it, and that's what happens a lot. A lot of guys stand around and they watch, and you know, Michael Jordan was kind of like that every now and then. You know, he kind of let other guys do their thing, but I think moving without the ball is definitely a lost art, and it's definitely undertaught. I don't think enough coaches, I've watched a lot of practices and workouts. Coaches, I don't know if it's the lack of time, if it's the lack of desire, but what I do, KG, when I work camps and they ask me what station do I want to run, I said, I'm going to run a station moving without the ball. You know, and it's like, and I bring a lot of energy to the workout, and I got guys moving, you know, they're either passing and cutting, they're screening away, or they're coming off screens. I mean, if you remember Reggie Miller, he was incredible at coming off screen.
Yes.
And Richard Hamilton of Detroit Pistons is the same way. He runs the baseline, and he's working you to death, and then you got to go through screens. And
Ray Allen.
Yeah, Ray Allen's incredible at it. And see, the regular fan and the kids today, they don't see that. You know what I'm saying? They watch the ball, and I think 50% of success in basketball is off the ball.
Moving on, let's talk about your passion for the game, and also let's talk about the importance of individual instruction and individual development.
I think number one, if you're going to train players as a coach, even a parent, if you're going to take your kid outside and work in the driveway with them, you got to show a lot of energy. You got to show enthusiasm. You got to show the player that you really want to be out there, and you're out there for the best interest of him. I remember Mark Jackson was talking about Jeff Van Gundy, and when Jeff Van Gundy was an assistant coach with the New York Knicks, Mark Jackson once said in the New York Daily News, he said, Jeff Van Gundy is like a young ball boy with me. When I got to shoot, he comes out and he rebounds and he throws great passes. The one thing I take pride in when I work kids out is I try to bring more energy than them, because enthusiasm and energy is contagious. Okay, if I'm a player and I see my coach out there and KG, when I'm out there on the floor, if a kid misses a shot, I chase the ball down into the corner, under the basket. I don't let the player run after the ball. I'm always chasing the ball. I throw it to him. I think number one, energy is important. And number two, I would have to say the player themselves really, really has to want to be out there to improve. A lot of times you see these kids out on the court with their personal trainers, and they just don't look motivated. And sometimes I feel it's the parents who want it more than the kids. And, like a lot of people ask me, they say, hey, Steve, you got a 10-year-old daughter. Are you working her out? You're getting her better. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't push her. I wait for her to ask me to take some shots, and then I get out there. So probably energy and the kid wanting to become a better player are two important things in individual workout. Okay.
Now, what area of the game do you think is important when you talk about the individual workout? Me, myself, I used to like to work on my go-to moves. And when I say go-to moves, I even wrote in my book, everyone hits a ball hard, they all love a score. Stuff like the step back, that Sam Cassell used. Learning how to actually, pivot and utilize the defender's body and be able to push off at different places and playing off him. So I worked on a lot of that stuff, and also, of course, shooting 500 jump shots a day. But what do you recommend kids that are in high school do in the off season and focus on?
Well, obviously, when you watch basketball, the one thing you always see is shooting, and that's important, like you said. And I love what you just added about working on your go-to moves. And speaking of quotes and former coaches, Hubie Brown once said, every year a player should come back. Every summer a player should work on a new move and come back for the next season with a new move. And when you work on your go-to move, you said you work on the step back. See, a lot of that, KG, takes work. And unfortunately, a lot of kids today don't want to work as hard as maybe like an old school guy or even a guy from your era. But it's so important, and it's special people like you and other great ones who want to put that time in. I see a lot of kids, they come out on the court and all they want to do is shoot, just shoot jumpers. Yes. When I walk in the gym before our workouts or practice, I get guys going. So when a kid's working out, I really think he should work on a couple of go-to moves, like you said, like not just stand there and catch and shoot. Go the one dribble pull-up, the two dribble pull-ups. Go through your legs, go behind your back, make a move, work on your move to get better. And you always got to go at game speed. That's a given. You got to keep. Here you are. You're living on this great earth of ours. You're living in an awesome country, and no matter how hard your situation is at this time, it can only get better. It can only get better if you work at it and don't give up on things and learn how other players and other coaches do things and say, hey, maybe I should go out and work on that step back, like KG talked about in his iPod. Maybe I should work on my crossover. Maybe I should get lower on defense. You know what I mean? You always, because as a coach, I'm always trying to get better. I read stuff. I read your book. I look on the internet. I read other books. You got to get better. It's all about improvement.
Coach Steve Finamore. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach, it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, man, you know what? You got me amped up now. I got to go run 2 miles now. You got me juiced up.
Look forward to speaking to you in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Steve Finamore, great coach. As you see, he has tons of experience. Look out for that new book that he has on the way. Log on to jumpstarthoops.com. Subscribe to this podcast because I'm going to be bringing you more people more coaches and players with that insight that's going to get you to the next level. So till next time, work hard but study